The year is 2007. Steve Jobs walks on stage to deliver the world-changing iPhone into public domain for the first time. NASA launches the Phoenix Mars lander. Microsoft Windows Vista is released to the dismay of the public and corporate computing markets. The computer game that would be known for bringing even high-end systems to their knees, Crysis, is released. Apple releases OS X Snow Leopard, the last Mac operating system to officially support PowerPC processors. 2007 is a highlight year for tech, and as such, the year is ripe for nostalgia PC builds. The tech is right on the edge between vintage and modern, enough so that it can still handle relatively light modern workloads while still being able to support vintage operating systems and software due to the availability of drivers on that software platform. Bringing about this idea, what's the relative performance of the best build you can get utilizing hardware from the year 2007? Today we're going to find out. A group of friends came together and provided parts to build a semi-ancient beast at a convention. Here's some footage of that build.
No. Oh, no, it's
no, the fan spins.
Yeah, it does that much.
But it won't do anything else. The fan never spins down, it just stays at full RPM.
Oh, you need to add me to the room, too. The room?
It is unhappy.
Okay. What was it unhappy about?
The card. That one's dead.
The card.
Okay, now we know which one to do to swap on.
Yep.
Okay. See?
What is a thumb screw? You said it was.
Besides the packaging, they do care about you not getting in the case.
You shall not pass.
Wow.
The side panel has no window. How dare
it?
Breaks.
Weird flex, but okay.
Alright, so you get some goodies in here. Not even some screws, wow. Yeah. How much was this again?
We paid $195.
Okay, let's see what we got in here. There'll be some fancy writing. NTEX 25, C, whatever. Alright, where's English? This product overview will be provided general information about the product.
Boring! Boring!
So let's go ahead and see what other packaging we got in here. Oh, wow, at least they packaged it very well.
Don't drop it.
Alright.
Alright, so what we have here is not one, but two USB 3 connectors.
I like the sound.
Yeah.
God, you sound like Linus.
Yeah, he does. It's awful.
A hard drive LED connector, power LED connector, man, this has a lot of LEDs in it, and a power switch button. This is typically not what you find in a high-end case like this. Good job, Antec.
I can literally see the thing of Linus textbook.
Alright, so we need to disassemble that.
Supposed to run up under them.
Yeah.
Go along that side.
I forgot about that.
You can't do it with the cards in there. You can't feed it under.
Take out the cards. Take out the cards. Take them out.
This is hurting me.
By the way, I'm not lazy with my build.
Sure you are.
I'm not lazy, but here, take it.
Like your bridge.
I'm gonna
Leave the screws in there.
No, you'll still need it removed where you can get to that connector anyway.
Yeah,
remember?
because even if I do get the graphics cards out of there,
Get the graphics card out on the screen.
no.
There you go. So the graphics cards have this slot in them. The cable runs up along there through that slot in the cards.
Oh.
That's how it's supposed to go.
Sorry, I'm not used to that like that.
The notch, the little safety notch towards the front. Other way.
Take the cards out.
No, we're fine.
We're fine. We're fine. We're fine.
You're split.
You're good.
You're good. We're good.
You're good.
You're good. You're good.
No, the square part's right here.
Okay. Shadow's like dying over here.
What's going on?
Shadow's dying over here.
Look, see, you see the square?
We're beeping go around.
Yeah, I'm watching it down here. It's splitting when you put it in.
I'm only doing. I'm doing one at a time.
You have to do both at the same time.
Trust me, you have to do both at the same time. You can't put one in the other.
No.
You want me to do it?
No.
Better than the Verge video.
You.
Do you want me to put it in?
Put it in. Put it in. Put it in.
Force.
Put it in. Yeah. Mr. Hotshot, put it in. Yeah. See how hard it is? Put it in.
Go.
Do it.
Just,
Yeah.
just do it.
Yeah, you just tell me how easy it was. Yeah, do it.
Oh dear.
Oh my god.
Click.
Click. But before we get any further on this build, I just want to reiterate. So you know how this was flexing the whole time and giving us a bunch of problems, right?
Yeah.
And the front panel like doesn't have a fan and stuff like that. Oh. It's so All right, so make sure that we're running the cable properly. Right here.
Properly.
Can we put the fan back up? Wait. That's blow right here, this way. No.
No.
Other way.
Does it matter?
Yes, it
Very
does.
much so, yes.
Doesn't matter to me.
It actually matters.
Yes, it does.
It's like,
Welcome to Building a PC 101 with Shadow and Sean.
man.
But
And friends.
Hey,
Yeah, and friends.
did you notice the really nice looking slimline RAM here? Like
Oh, whoa.
The low profile RAM.
Beautiful program. Oh
And what, that is what? DDR2?
yeah, it's DDR2. Fight me. But without all the gaudy heat sinks and everything, it's amazing. Oh my god.
Good. That was satisfying.
Next.
That's all to that satisfying click was not anything to do with the case. It was just the board.
It just snapping into place.
Yes. Oh my god. This is shitty.
Who could that be?
Who could that be?
Welcome to TeamSpeak. User hasn't joined the channel yet.
Let me go over you guys, shall we?
Oh, you putting bridge on there already?
User,
Yeah,
join
it is.
your channel.
Yeah, it is.
Who is that?
It's a goat.
The goat.
User, join your channel.
Yeah, you are. You missed like the best part of this.
Yeah.
It's been interesting.
It's been while I'm recording.
That's just how it is.
Yeah.
Like, that's totally normal.
Normal.
Yes.
Yes.
You have to be He-Man to plug in.
Yeah.
Is it right here next to
This is what all builders used to have to deal with.
Isn't the Molex connector like what was famous for catching PCs on fire?
That was technically Molex to SATA adapters. Or I think it was SATA to Molex.
This is more depressed than my soul.
You know what? Here.
Big move.
You know what? Here.
I'm a
No.
pecker, so...
Does it
I don't
really
do the
matter?
normal- Like, I don't do the normal.
Wait.
I don't
I'm gonna bend the
Because, like...
I mean, if you want to fix it, be my guest.
For some shitty LEDs.
It's not an LED, and that's why I bought it. Okay.
I'm gonna plug it in halfway because I can give less than 2.
Look, this is.
We just need to have a PC. Literally, just throw it in there.
I need
Just
to plug
throw
one
it
in.
in there.
Don't worry about it right now. We're booting it.
We're booting it right now.
Like it will boot.
If it boots.
Wait, did you guys make sure you plugged in the CPU power? Because, oh my god, so many people don't. Okay.
Yes.
We did that.
Alright, just making sure.
Do you think we are amateurs?
Yes.
Maybe.
I mean,
Yes.
he should.
Oh, okay, Rapunzel. Let's...
Fans button down.
I like that.
Hey.
So there's one of the BIOSes. Does it display both of them?
Uh-oh.
No?
See?
Oh.
Interesting.
Oh no.
Oh,
It
you
says
have
it's
to...
in the third slot. Move it to the second.
1, 2, 3.
Or does it start from
Okay,
0?
well, we have to move the card.
Or does it start from 0?
No, it doesn't.
Assembling the computer was only half the fun. After everything was verified to be running correctly, performance metrics had to be taken at stock speeds, and that meant benchmarking this beast in the hotel room. Due to time constraints, Windows 10 was used as the Core 2 Extreme can handle this operating system with no issues, especially given 8GB of DDR2 and a solid-state disk. First up was Cinebench R15, and with a score of 347 at near stock frequencies, to get it to stock would have required a CMOS reset, and considering the challenges of just getting this machine to a running state, that just was not going to happen. This highlights just how poorly this processor stacks up to modern CPUs, as most modern light-duty laptops can score at least 100 points per core, and this processor scored less than that. Need for Speed Underground 2, a game published by Electronic Arts in 2004, ran at a blistering speed of 120 FPS with no frame drops even at stock frequencies. The game seems to have an artificial frame rate cap on it, so performance metrics cannot be had using this game. Moving on to Need for Speed Carbon, published in 2007, we saw a peak frame rate of 142 FPS with an average well over 100. Unigine Heaven benchmark did pinpoint a good indicator of performance though. At basic preset full screen, an average of 66.5 frames per second was seen with a minimum of 19 and a max of 79. Unigine Valley reported 42 average with a minimum of 15 and a max of 79. Oblivion was tested, and surprisingly, since this game was published late 2006, at max graphics settings and resolution, frame rate did not drop from 60 in any areas tested, and as this game has a hard cap at 60, this means that this game cannot be used for performance metrics either. This last game that we had available in our test suite answers the classic question: can it run Crysis? And at stock settings, yes and no. In-game settings will have to be tweaked to provide an enjoyable experience, but out of the box, it ran okay-ish, seeing a minimal frame rate around 45 and a max of 86 depending on the area in the action, but there were more than a few noticeable stutters. Overclocking this blast from the past to 4.05 GHz on the CPU, and overclocking both the GPUs on core and memory frequencies, we saw a few gains. 4.05 GHz saw a Cinebench score of 435, almost 100 points gained, making single-core performance much more bearable. Heaven benchmark saw a 9% increase in frame rate to 72 FPS, Valley saw a 10% increase in performance to 46.6, Crysis minimal FPS stayed the same at 48 but saw much greater peak frame rate performance at 108 FPS, and NFS Carbon peaked at 155 with a low of 120. What was the point of this exercise though, since this machine most certainly would not be able to run modern titles, and don't even think about video editing? I shudder to think of the timeline scrubbing. Mostly, fun. Building computers with friends can be a learning experience as much as it can be a fun one, and it's as surprising as it sounds, it was well worth the money spent, and I do hope to do it again in the future.